How in the world is this happening? The Rangers are right back in the race. Some of the best players on the team are hurt. So how is this happening? Luckily, we've got answers on the DLLS Rangers podcast. So if there was texting shorthand for it, it would be HTF. We're not allowed to say that, though, so we won't. But how the F, Jeff? That rhymes. How the F, Jeff?
Yeah, WTF.
Yeah, this is HTF. As we welcome you into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's John Radigan. It's Jeff Wilson. We've got the Queen Cat over here handling all of our technical business. We're so glad to have her and you in the chat as we first start. Before we get to the answer of HTF question mark, we got to tell you about our big month. It's a huge month here at DLLS because we are so proud of our partners at Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and we want you to help us help them, and truly, by so doing, you help the entire community. Just a moment together, it says, can build resilience, their resilience. Talk about resilience. That's what the Rangers are showing. A lot of these youngsters in Dallas and Fort Worth need Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and of course, the organization also needs your support. So for this week, we are going to use all of our Super Chat money will be donated to Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So on the chat where you normally see that Super Chat button, it's a donate button. So click that donate button, and we'll call you out and thank you on the show for donating money to such a great cause. Even if you don't care about, Super Chat money for us, how about for the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dallas? We're going to celebrate them all month long, and this week we are helping donate money from you to them. Now, HTF. This is, every time we got it seems like there have been a lot of Friday announcements, right? On a Friday, we got the announcement, I think, that Simeon and Evan Carter were both out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then this past Friday, it came on Thursday, but we get the announcement that, Corey Seager is out with an appendectomy. And it's like these Black Fridays that, okay, whatever, let's go. I really thought the Seager thing would have a demoralizing effect that would be very difficult to overcome.
Yeah, and then you can throw in Evaldi on Tuesday of last week, a week ago today, and you're like, golly, what more? Who else can go? And apparently, Dlls Garcia can get hurt.
Yeah, apparently
he looked like me running around the bases on that Jake Berger triple, and fortunately, it scored. Berger hit it in the right spot. So that's another one, and people are like, oh, Adolis, he hasn't been very good. He's been really good since he came off the injured. Has hits in 7 of 9 games and has played terrific defense. So this is another potential obstacle they'll have to overcome. But we've said it to each other. I think we've even said on the show this injury seems like it's going to be the death knell. And by God, this team has sprung to life. And really, they've won 9 of their last 10. And it started the day that Simeon and Carter were declared out for the season. Well, Simeon was declared out a few days later. But the
going to the injured list.
They were going to the injured list, and so it's surprising and it's shocking. It's overdue.
Yeah,
and but it's the personnel that's doing it, and I guess that can be exciting. These wins have been exciting, but it also, just everything has come together for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it doesn't get much more exciting than last night's game, which was just the second time in 34 instances like this that the Rangers have won the game. So they're now 2-32 on the road in games where they trail entering the ninth inning. And again, I'm sure most teams are 1 in whatever or 2 in whatever when you're on the road and trailing in the ninth. That's a pretty tall order because, again, if you're trailing, that means likely you're going to see their closer or it's a blowout already, right? So, but anyway, that was the situation. They were 1-32 as they entered the ninth inning at that point last night, and they come through in the ninth in such a huge way. And it was, that in that particular inning, it was down to the last strike on Cody Freeman, who'd already hit a 2-run homer in the third inning of the game to get the Rangers back into it. And then down to the last strike, Cody Freeman, sort of just, excuse me, is one out there into right field. And it worked. It scored the game-tying run. It kept the game alive. It certainly kept hope alive. And Cody, after the game, I loved his quote. He said, "He was not going to get me out." Simple as that. I love big moments like that. I love when the crowd is going nuts, especially on the road. Give me that moment 20 times out of 20. I live for that moment. And it showed.
Yeah, if you, as a beat writer, you watch what's happening in the minor leagues and little things that stick out. And at one point this spring, probably May, I looked at a Round Rock box score, and Cody Freeman had played shortstop. Well, Cody Freeman does not play a lot of shortstop. And so that intrigued me. That means, all right, they're either desperate for shortstops, which they weren't, or they're trying Cody Freeman to expand his role a little bit. So I texted Ross Fenstermaker, and I said, "Hey, what about Cody Freeman playing shortstop?" And he went, "The guy's a winner." And other people have described him that way, a winner. And that attitude is a winning attitude. And you see his excitement when he hits the home runs. When he had the game-winning hit, he almost fell over on his way down to first.
Yeah.
And then once he got there, though, he was fired up, and he should be. And that's kind of part of this. And Jock Peterson mentioned it before the road trip that these young guys have given the team a jolt of energy. Cody Freeman is at the top of the list. Ezekiel Duran is not young. He's been around for a while, but he doesn't play right. He plays with a lot of energy. You have Michael Hellman, who didn't even start the year with this team, who, the other day in Oakland almost had a 2-homer game. He just seems to be in the middle of things when he does get the chance to play. And then Alejandro is his uncle, Alejandro Osuna, had the winning hit yesterday off the pitcher. And he hasn't done a lot either, but he plays with a great joy and energy in the game. So you can see this, and it's spreading throughout the team, and that's good because this team doesn't have a lot of vocal leaders or guys who get very excited. And really, if you want to go to that August 22nd game that started this stretch when they came back to beat the Guardians, it was Wyatt Langford who started the ninth inning with a double, which he hustled and slid hard into second safely, and got up and was pumping his fist toward the dugout. And then next pitch, the Rangers won the game. So there's a little energy now finally with this team, and Marcus Semien and Corey Seager don't show a lot of emotions on the field. I would argue that actually Corey Seager has shown more than Marcus Semien, just based on the home runs in the playoffs in 2023. This team needs that. Sometimes you just need the jolt. And so it's a contributing factor to this whole thing. There are a lot of others, and I wrote about them today, but this is how it's happening. And these young guys and their energy is part of it.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And, Boach mentioned it after the game yesterday, he said, this was so great for the kids. The kids did it for us, and again, specifically there, he's referring to they're all kids to Boch, but Freeman and Osuna in particular, they're more like grandkids, right? To Boch, they're so young. And but you have to put guys who are in that sort of that next level, and this guy's really not even there yet. But you put the Josh Youngs and the Wyatt Langfords and Josh Smiths and guys like that into that next level. They're still pretty Ezekiel Duran, who you mentioned, they're still pretty young,
right?
But they're they're more experienced. And by the way, speaking of Wyatt Langford, and someone talked about him there in the chat already. Your Rangers Player of the Month of August.
Yeah, that came across just as the show was starting. And, that's who I voted for, and it was pretty obvious. And the player that I voted for AL Player of the Month too, and he didn't quite have the numbers that others had, but they're really good numbers, really competitive numbers. A lot of walks for Wyatt in August, and that's something else that the Rangers are doing. Their offense is getting into more favorable hitters counts. They are taking their walks. Look, Kyle Higashioka, that was huge. He worked a walk. Huge. Maybe they pitched around him, I don't know, but he worked a walk there in the ninth to get Freeman up, and that was a pivotal moment. Garcia beating out the play he was injured, beating out the back end of that double play was enormous,
huge.
And it saved an out, and the Rangers were able to capitalize on it. So they're doing these little things, and you think, oh well, getting ahead of the count shouldn't be a little thing, but it's been hard for this team to do, and yet they're getting ahead of the count. They're hitting better with 2 strikes. They're coming through more with 2 outs, and just putting the ball in play sometimes is all it takes. Cody Freeman had a hit the other night that barely made it to the outfield.
Right.
It just put the bat on the ball, and Cody does that. Talk about how he doesn't want to make an out. He's a hard guy to strike out. So it's just, again, another element. The offense is finally doing what it's supposed to do. It's just the guys who are doing it weren't necessarily the guys who you thought were going to do it on opening day.
No, not at all. A couple of these guys wouldn't even have expected to be here in September unless it was for a September call-up, specifically Freeman and Osuna on opening day. We wouldn't have expected either one of them to be here unless it was for a September call-up. But, speaking of that Garcia beating out that double play and how big that was, it leads to another guy who's just back off the injured list himself, and Jake Berger, who then comes up and laces a triple. And again, we've said it before, Jake Berger's a lot faster than he looks.
Right.
Like, you're not going to say that too often about Rowdy Tellez. They both look fairly similar, although Rowdy's bigger. But Jake can move, and he turned on the afterburners to get to third base. And again, as you said, it was all that as far as we could tell, it was all Dlls could do to get home.
I really thought he was going to stop at third. The
Yeah.
way he came around there, but the ball got to that corner and out there in the weird center field and Chase Field, and he ended up, getting home and scoring the run that made it 5-4. And then you if you watched the postgame show, you heard manager talking about it, and he was like, "Oh, he's been playing so good too." Like, "Oh yeah,
we know what's happening
he's
here.
not going to be playing for a little while." So I kind of thought that I read into that one, and we'll see what happens. But Boo, it's always good to see you in the text, and your tech guy, Josh Young, he's in a nine game hitting streak right now. And ever since he was, I don't want to say he was benched, but there was that stretch there in Toronto and Kansas City where basically he was told, you need to start paying attention. Well, he's focused in and is doing much better, hitting the ball hard, and so they need every one of them. They need every one of these guys. There's not a guy out there you can say, oh, he will be okay if he doesn't contribute. The Rangers absolutely, positively need all 13 of their position players to hit. And that's that.
It really is, and they have been, and that's the biggest change that we've seen. That is that's the how in the HTF question. They're getting it done that way. The wild card standings thus look like this, as the Rangers are now within a game and a half of that final spot, which is to say a game and a half of the Mariners. But how about being only 4.5 back of the Astros in the division? That with 6 games to play head-to-head against the Astros. None against the Mariners, but 6 left against the Astros. Let's dive in to these standings and those possibilities as we continue next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. And hey, you have an opportunity to go to a game this weekend between the Astros and the Rangers. Somebody in the chat already said, hey, it's a battle for first place. It really is. I mean, there's no doubt if the Rangers win 2 out of 3 each one of those series, well, they probably need to sweep one of them. But either way, it's a very winnable, achievable goal to take over first place from the Astros. And if you go to GameTime.com, you can get your tickets to one of the games over the course of this weekend at Globe Life Field between the Rangers and the Astros. We all remember from 2023 what great emotion and drama there was in the series between these two. So do yourself a favor and go get tickets for that or any of the other home games that are now suddenly very important as we head to the month of September. GameTime.com, $20 off your first purchase with the code DLLS.
You can also go to see the Rangers in person September 13th, but you'll have to fly to New York at Citi Field to do that. But you instead can come to a very important event for us and big brothers and big sisters, Cigars and Conversations, September 13th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Casa de Monte Cristo Lounge here in Dallas. You get a premium cigar, a complimentary cocktail. Hello, complimentary cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to connect with people who care, the BBS board members, staff, community leaders. Some of us will be there to help come together and inspire some change. You can learn how to become a mentor and positively impact a young person's life, ask questions, share stories, and discover how you can get involved. That's Cigars and Conversations, 9/13, 2 to 6 p.m. at Casa de Monte Cristo.
All right, so yeah, you saw those wild card standings. The Rangers have made up 4 games since they started this 9-1 stretch. They've made up 4 games in the wild card chase. They've jumped over Cleveland and they've jumped over Kansas City in the meantime. So again, that's always one of the difficult things. You can say, yeah, we're 3.5 out, but there's 5 teams between us. No, in this case, there were 2. And the Rangers have jumped both of them, so they're knocking right on the door. You know, that sound that the Mariners are hearing. That's the Rangers' footsteps. And again, we count on a Mariners collapse pretty much every year about this.
We sure do. And these East Coast road trips, I'm telling you, are really, really hard on the West Coast teams. And the Mariners had one just. It's back-to-back road trips have been to the East Coast, and it's a struggle for them. I'm telling you right now. And hey, great for the Rangers. Everybody has little obstacles on their schedules, and this is one for them. The Astros are getting the Yankees for the next 3 important games for the Yankees, who are now tied with the Red Sox, and they're trying to catch the Blue Jays, who are struggling a little bit. So. There's a lot going on in the American League where these games have heightened importance, and with that comes an energy level that teams have to match, and see how the Rangers and these young kids handle it going forward. I did want to make note though of something that Cheryl Lane pointed out in our chat that some people on my Twitter have mentioned.
I didn't notice this.
about Josh Smith and Marcus Semien not celebrating. And I did not notice it.
I didn't either.
I would also caution that you're catching a moment in time of a camera shot, not necessarily what happened before or after. But again, I didn't see it, but some people have said, "Oh, Josh Smith has a bad attitude." guy who's played 7 of the 9 positions this season does not have a bad attitude.
No.
Marcus Semien, who plays every day unless he has a broken foot, does not have a bad attitude. I don't know what people are referencing, but I think it's misplaced. Maybe they weren't fist pumping and doing cartwheels, but I can assure you that these are not bad teammates. So I just want to get that out there and settle that. And no, Marcus doesn't show much emotion, but I don't think he's feeling sorry for himself or upset that a younger player is having success in his place. I don't think that's the case at all. Marcus, has a broken foot and knows he isn't going to play pretty much the rest of the year.
Right.
A lot of guys, especially ones with 4 kids and a pregnant wife, would not even be on this road trip.
Right.
But Marcus Semien's on this road trip, and I can assure you that he has put the team ahead of a lot of things, including his injury and his family in this situation. Again, he doesn't need to be in Phoenix. He's not going to do anything on the field, yet he's there to help the fans. So anyway, I appreciate the comment, Cheryl, and I'm glad that I was able to
clear that up a bit.
And
speaking of guys who don't need to be on the trip but are in spirit, let's discuss the Jack Leiter revelation after his great start the other night, where he said, that Nathan Eovaldi did a deep dive and gave his own personal sort of game plan to Jack Leiter, and Jack, raved about. And look, we've known that's the kind of guy Evo is, and clearly a pitching coach or a manager waiting to happen if and when his career ends. But man, what a great thing that was from a team standpoint.
Yeah, Nathan's made too much money in his career. He's not going to coach, but
probably not.
If he does miss it, then maybe he could. But yeah, and that's what he does. He watches these guys throw bullpens, and he's a big part of the story I'm going to write later today about Jack and the importance of this season. And Jack, has the start tomorrow in the series finale. It's a big deal. It's a big game, and if he's able to harness this potential that we've all seen down the stretch here, there's no replacing Nathan Eovaldi, but that'll come a long way to help it. So anyway, that's just kind of the separator. I did a story for the current Rangers program that you can get on this next homestand, and Mike Maddox said he's heavily invested in the we and the us, and that Nathan Eovaldi is that guy. He wants to win so badly. He hasn't thrown in the towel, even though he has a rotator cuff strain. He's aiming for the postseason if it happens, and he's going to do that every year. So it's we talk about what he does on the mound, which is fantastic, but it's the stuff that he does behind the scenes like this that you really can't get around. There's nobody like him. Like he texts players on their kids' birthday.
Wow.
Hey, make sure you wish so and so a happy 6th birthday or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's how invested he is in his team.
Yeah, that's great. There are great, there really are a bunch of great teammates in that clubhouse. To Jeff's point, there's no evidence at all anywhere, anytime that Josh Smith and Marcus Semien are not great teammates and wouldn't be celebrating a win like that, because that was another one that, again, and we said it so many times, thankfully, now it's sort of coming true. These, those wins that you'll look back on and go, that was a big one, and it may continue to propel them. Tonight, the Rangers hope it can help to propel Jacob Latz, who will get the start again. It's interesting that they always put TBA, even though we pretty much know it's going to be Latz. I guess that's just in case they need to use him in some sort of an emergency on Monday. They don't want to list it. Whatever it is, it'll be Jacob Latz.
Yeah, it was announced after the game, and look, he's made 4 starts this year, and the Rangers are 3-1 in those games. The one was a 2-1 loss to Tarek Skubal. So he's doing pretty well. in this starting role. And again, I think that you're talking about a guy who needs to be seriously considered for a rotation spot to start next season. There's monetary value in it. And look, the guy's good. He's left-handed. Cody Bradford is the other lefty. Well, he's not going to be ready until July or August as he deals with the brace surgery. I just think that it makes a ton of sense. And and I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, oh well, it's Kamar Rocker spot. Is it?
Yeah.
I do wonder, what Kamar is going to be able to do just the rest of this year. He needs to make a start in AAA and see if the changes they've asked him to make are working. So we'll see what it is. But Latz is good, and I think you like a left-hander against the top of the Diamondbacks lineup. I know that Pedromo and Marte hit home runs yesterday, but still, I think you'd rather them be hitting right-handed than left-handed. And then Corbin Carroll, you try to neutralize him with the lefty, and those are their guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway,
well, and with regard to Latz, I think early in this process of utilizing him in the Evaldi spot, we were calling, or they were calling it more than we were, a bullpen game. This isn't really a bullpen game. I mean, Jacob Latz, he's maybe not completely stretched out, but he's stretched out enough to be called. This is a Jacob Latz start.
Yeah, I think he could probably get him into the 6th.
Yep.
They sent him back out for the 5th last week when he made a start, and I think that was because they recognized the potential for him to be making starts the rest of the way. So go back, get him another up, and just stretch him out. And he said afterwards, where they are at this point in the season, it won't be hard for him to get his pitch count back up. He got to 66, I believe it was. So 80 shouldn't be an issue at all today. Maybe a little bit beyond that, depending on the stress level and that stuff. So, yeah, and he is a good kid. Excuse me, he's not a kid. He's 29, but 4-pitch mix. The one thing I've noticed about him is his misses all seem to be kind of high and outside. Okay, whatever, but as long as he isn't missing across the middle of the plate, he should be fine.
Yeah, high and outside misses are hard to hit, right? If that's your mistake, that's okay. Now, but in this spot in the rotation, the Rangers could have a battle for it as soon as next time through, and that's because Tyler Mahle will pitch tonight on a rehab assignment, Jeff. It'll be his first one, but it feels like, he went from zero progress to 60, right?
Yeah.
And he's ready, and that's great. I mean, we'll see. Tonight will tell. But if he's ready, would it not be wonderful to insert Tyler Mahle back into that rotation if it's the same Tyler Mahle we were seeing, prior to June when he started to fade and then got hurt?
Yeah, and I would suspect he has to make another one. I just don't. But anyway, when he does come back, he's not going to be stretched out.
Right.
It would be a Tyler Mahle, Jacob Latz piggyback situation, and I'm guessing that Mahle would be the starter based on experience and lack of experience as a reliever. But yeah, any little boost will help, and he was so good in April and May, and if he can recapture some of that form, then the Rangers will be better off. And hey, let's give it a shot. See what happens.
Right.
The Rangers are in the hunt, and they need all the help they can get. And if by some chance, he makes, let's say, this start today, maybe another Sunday, which would be 5 days somewhere in the minor leagues, then he could be ready for the start of the road trip to New York.
Yeah.
That would, hey, maybe he could start a game against the Astros if it's looking good. Whatever it takes at this point, you need all hands on deck. This is another hand, and when it first happened, it was looking like maybe 6 weeks.
Right.
Now we're into
3 months.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So anyway, it'd be nice to get him back. It seems like the Rangers are close and certainly closer to doing that. More coming up as we talk about some of the buzzwords that have been lacking. The words like momentum and connectivity and team at bats. They all seem to be present now. Let's talk about how and why next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time for us to remind you about our Big Brothers and Big Sisters month. We started the show with this, but we just want you to know we would love for you to help us help them. The super chat button for this week is a donate button. So any money that you would like to donate to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, a wonderful organization, it's simple to do. Just hit that button where you would normally do a super chat, and you can help these young men and young women, these boys and girls, have that person in their life, that big brother or that big sister. What a wonderful organization, what wonderful things they have done. We're so proud to be partners with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dallas. So help us out, help them out. And you can also, go to Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dallas.com, and you can become one of the big brothers or big sisters. We're always looking for big.
Yeah, and it's just part of all of what we do. Pretty exciting. Anthony Andrews, a former big brother for that organization. And while we're hawking stuff, go ahead and go to Las Vegas. It's True Fan Travel. Our Cowboys crew is going to be out there November 15th through the 18th. And whether the Cowboys are good or rotten, Las Vegas takes all of that away. And it's over a football weekend, so college football started in earnest this last weekend. I had probably the best college football week you can have. Baylor and Texas both lost, and TCU won. I didn't do so well on my prize picks with college football. Lesson learned.
Okay.
Wait a week or two for this stuff to work out. But anyway, TrueFanTravel.com or scan the QR code, and you get to go to Vegas with our buddies from the Cowboys.
All right, so one thing we haven't mentioned, or one person we haven't mentioned yet, when we're talking injuries and injuries to pitchers and all that type of thing, is our buddy Chris Martin, who came in yesterday and just looked like he hadn't missed a beat, Jeff.
Yeah, good for him. And that was a big double play he got there in the ninth to get the Rangers into extra innings. And he's good, man. I mean, that's why the Rangers signed him. It's unfortunate that he's had the multiple health issues this season, but to get a guy like him back to put into the late inning mix, that means it pushes somebody else lower in the pecking order, leverage spots, and hey, he's built for it. He's pitched in World Series. He has done a lot of things in this game in his career, so he doesn't get rattled very often. He throws a lot of strikes. He's not going to hurt himself, and if he's healthy and if he's available, multiple games a week, multiple games a series, it's a huge lift for the bullpen.
Big lift for a high leverage arm in the bullpen. And we mentioned Jake Berger being back and in that pinch hitting role last night, doing what he did, but Jake is back from that wrist. I don't even know if it was a true injury. It was like wrist soreness. But anyway, Coach said before the game yesterday he's probably not 100% yet, but he wants to come back, into the lineup. And let's not forget what he had done, when he had come back previously. Jake Berger has definitely found something later in the year. Now he's just been battling these injuries.
Correct. And it was called a left wrist sprain. I think he took a couple days off and was back to hitting.
Yeah.
It was just a situation where they needed a body and didn't want to wait it out. So they got him ready. And look, in theory, he's going to be healthy for the last month, which is, even the most important month at this point. But you're right. Before he went on the IL, he had started to find a stride. He said that he figured out his swing. He's best when it's to the pull side. I know that triple last night was to right center, but he thinks he found the right swing to give him the pull side power that he possesses and just hadn't been able to showcase. So Yeah, it looks like it'll be a platoon with Dlls there at first base. Though again, if Berger is the hot hand, Bruce Bochy has shown no hesitance in going with the hot hand.
No.
I mean, that's Michael Hellman is in the lineup
Yeah.
right now and not platooning with Osuna. So that tells you that. So he has a chance to make an impact. And again, he's one of these guys that's overdue. Uh, he was acquired to replace Nathaniel Lowe with the hope that he would be hitting fastballs and generating more power out of that position. And it's in him. It's definitely in him. It's just a matter of it coming out. And again, after this, the quad injury that put him on the IL, before this one put him on the IL, in that little window there, it looked like he had found something.
Yeah, definitely did. And hopefully he will have that. It showed last night, got a triple in that pinch hitting role. So good for him. So one of the other things that we've sort of been waiting for all year, as we mentioned, was momentum. And the old baseball saying, and it's a classic, is, momentum is only as good as the next day's starting pitcher. And that could apply to your starting pitcher or to the starting pitcher you're facing in some cases. But generally, that's the theory in baseball. And yet, I think there is momentum, right? I think that you can ride a wave as an offense. And somehow, this team has not done that much at all this season until now, Jeff.
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculation about why that is. The Kevin Pillar comments from earlier in the year.
Yep.
And even here as we're talking about Marcus Semien and Josh Smith, not showing the emotion. Well, look, this team remains largely the same that it was position player wise in 2023, and it came together at the right time that year, late in the year, obviously in the postseason. It's the same group of guys, essentially. Corey and Marcus, Dlls, those kinds of guys, Josh Young, Jonah Heim, keep going and going. So there you go. But yeah, and winning is a big part of that. Jock Peterson, who was brought in to be a team guy, him hitting 130 for most of the season didn't help. But he's getting hot now, and it's a lot easier to be vocal when you are
100%.
producing than when you're an out every time you come up. So whatever the factors are for it to come together, it is coming together. Is it something that Chris Young will try to address in the offseason?
Sure.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it will be. He saw the Pillar comments. He understands, whether he thought a lot of them or not, that there's validity to a guy who has 10-year service time, saying things like that. But they also know that Corey's his own guy, right? I mean, and Marcus leads by example. And Adolis, again, kind of like Peterson, when things are going good, Adolis is good and excited and having fun. And when things aren't going well, he's not. I think they feel like Wyatt Langford is on his way to being this vocal guy, this real leader, and you've seen some of it, like I mentioned. I just I don't feel like I don't know that it's been an overriding issue this year. I think when you're underperforming and sucking, then yeah, nobody's happy. But I still think that they've been professional enough to go out there, hold their heads above water, right around there. Now they're in a position they're able to go out there and do something about it. And now you're seeing it. I mean, winning's fun, right?
No doubt.
Not winning is not fun. So and it's not like an Austin Hedges can fire up 20, I guess now at this point, 27 other guys. I mean, it's there. I just think that the leadership component, it's more of a football mentality.
Yeah.
It
could be a little overrated.
It could be a little overrated.
The winning is the big thing.
Yeah. And again, and we don't know what goes on in the clubhouse, and guys are pulled apart before the games as they're getting ready for the games, but in the couple hours after batting practice, they're together. They're doing things. They're in the cages together. They're talking over game plans together. They're eating together. There's time that we don't, as reporters, get to see in the clubhouse. So I just, is it worth a deep dive? Probably in the off season. It's something we can look into and really dig deep on and try to get to the core of. But I think the football mentality in a football state, that you need to have the rah guy. I just don't see it in a 162 game season. I don't see it in a 16 game season. I see it.
Yeah, it's got big value
in 162 games. If you're like that every game, you're going to burn yourself out. That's what happened to Chris Woodward. I think that's the act wore thin on some of these guys. Jeff Bannister, same thing. You got to find the balance. And so I don't think that it's a huge deal if there's not a guy out there screaming his head off every game.
Right.
And to the Josh Smith, Marcus Simeon stuff from last night, I got an email about it from a guy Michael Wang, a big Rangers fan, a longtime fan. I think he's on the board of the season ticket holders board, talking about it. It was and my moment in time comment kind of rankled him, I guess. It was a moment of time. It was a camera shot. We don't know what happened the hour before it. We don't know what happened the hour after it. Okay, I just, again, don't think that this is a big deal. It's not a big deal with their teammates. It's a big deal with fans who are looking for, who saw something that they thought might be awry. I don't think there's anything awry with those two.
No, there's not, and we're around them all the time, and it's not like we're guessing on this one. You see how those guys interact on a day-to-day basis with the rest of their teammates. And we also, we talk to guys and we know, and there have been, over the years, there have been situations like what is being described there. It's just not there with these two guys. There's no doubt about that. I will be anxious when they get home to have a chance to chat with Brett Boone and ask him, Jeff, what has happened? How it seems like, gosh, almost simultaneously, everybody has bought in on approach, if you will, team at bats, things like that.
Well, I think a lot of it's the personnel.
Maybe
you have you do have guys who now aren't 30 home runs hitters or think that they're 30 home run hitters. Cody Freeman has to put the ball in play. And I would say though that something's changed with Wyatt. I would say that something's changed with Josh Young.
Right, and that's those are the guys I'm thinking.
It's keeping them from falling back into the traps that get them. Josh Young
and even Adolis.
Yeah, Josh Young feels like he's a chase away, from falling back into this hole. Wyatt is in a good spot. He's not swinging and missing as much. I say that, he struck out in a big spot yesterday's game, but and I don't know if it's it probably is buy-in. You're buying into an entirely different philosophy of hitting. I mean, Brett Boone's philosophy is hitting the ball to second base, lifting a sacrifice fly, grinding out at bats. And that's different from what a lot of these guys have come up with. It's punish the ball, swing at the best pitch that you see. And the problem with that is sometimes you see a strike, but it's not a strike you can do anything with. So that's the point I think that Brett Boone's getting across is, you don't have to swing at everything, and B, sometimes all you have to do is put the ball in play. He told me there was a hitter meeting once where the Rangers lost a game in a situation where all the guy had to do was breathe on the ball. Those were Brett's Brett's words. All you have to do is breathe on it and get it in play, and we're going to win the game. And they didn't do it. So I think it's drilling that home. And again, it's foreign to a lot of guys. A lot of these guys have their own hitting coaches who only work on the technicality of the swing. They don't work on, hey, what's this situation? What do you need to do in this situation? This is kind of it is a little bit old school. There's no question about it. But You look at the teams who have success. You look at the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays just put the ball in play. They're tough out.
Everybody's a pesky
every
out.
one of them.
Yeah.
You don't strike them out a lot. And look at what they're doing. They lead the league in hitting. They're a really good team, probably going to be a playoff team. So it's there. It's part of the game, and it's just a matter of changing the way people think.
All right, we've got more to talk about on this one as we get prepared for tonight's game. It's game 2 against the Diamondbacks as this road trip and win streak continue. Let's see if it can tonight. But next up, we'll do our cleanup segment as we get to all kinds of stuff that's happening around the game of great interest to you and us next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, we still got the $36 thing going on, Kat? Oh, we do. Look at there. You could still get this great deal on becoming a diehard. It's our football club special. You get the 88 Club t-shirt, and you get this diehard content that we provide for you for only $36 for the entire year. This is a fantastic deal for you as you can avail yourself to all the great writing that we provide for you with 2 Cowboys beat writers, with the Stars and Mavs beat writer, and of course the great Jeff Wilson. He of nearly 2 decades of being a beat writer for your Texas Rangers.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. He's seen a lot of stuff. All of them have. I mean, Clarence had been around the Cowboys beat even longer, right? So we've got Tim Cato and Sam Nestler, and Ollie's new to us, but we're glad to have all these writers who provide so much content for you. And most of it is behind a paywall. So do yourself a favor and just pay the $36. Get the $35 free, $35 T-shirt is essentially what it is. And so basically, you've just only paid $1 for all that content.
Yeah, and this intro offer comes with the choice of 3 of the football club shirts from what I heard Bobby saying on the Mavs show.
Okay.
But if you go to store.allcitynetwork.com, you can get additional shirts like the Hello Win column that John is proudly wearing, or the Dallas versus all y'all that I have on the screen right now, part of the Dallas collection.
Oh, and look at what the Queen's got on.
She's got Nolan, Pummel, and old Robin Ventura there. Hats are coming. I can't wait. It's going to change my life because I'm going to buy every hat and wear them on a regular basis as just another way to show my spirit for DLLS.
Appreciate you all being a part of it. Store.allcitynetwork.com. We mentioned this Sunday, I guess, in the show, but the Astros have one of those weird Monday hangover games with the Angels, but now they take on the New York Yankees. Game 1 tonight. Max Fried against Framber Valdez.
That's a pretty good little pitching matchup.
Pretty good little match.
I like it. I say Fried's a soft tosser, but he gets it up to about 95. You always worry, I think, about left-handers in that ballpark, though. Framber's, going to make himself a nice little fortune this offseason.
Defied that.
Yeah. So that'll be a fun one to keep track of. Again, both teams need to win. The Astros have teams nipping at them there as they sit atop the West. The Yankees and the Red Sox are tied for the first and second wild card spots. So there's a lot hanging in the balance for both of these teams as they head down the stretch and look to continue. And the Yankees, the Blue Jays have kind of faded a little bit, and so the Yankees and Red Sox are now 2.5 games behind them in the East. So there's a lot happening in the game.
Yeah, and there is a definite October feel to a series like this. I mean, there's no doubt that there's plenty of people in the Yankees organization who remember 2017, and they remember, Jose Altuve running down the third baseline, reminding his teammates not to take his jersey off for some reason. Yeah,
the tattoo.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like it when I take my shirt off. There was just some reason he did. Maybe there was some acne. I don't really know. But anyway, nobody in the Yankees organization has forgotten, nor do they believe any of those other little excuses. And so in any event, I love that. That's a good rivalry too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't always get cross divisional rivals, but in this case, that's a pretty good little rivalry.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre, that in that moment he makes his double or he gets the big hit, and hey, everything's great, going to the World Series, but in all the euphoria, the first thing he thought,
Take my shirt off.
if you say so.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it'll be a good series.
It'll be fun to watch. It really will, because obviously there's so much at stake for the Rangers if they keep winning in particular, which is all that they can do, right? We always know that. We got to take care of our own business is such a cliche really in sports, but it's so true. Rangers keep winning, and if the Yankees pull off a couple of wins in Houston, heck, the Rangers could be within a couple of games as they get ready to take on the Astros. So let's see what happens there. It'll be interesting to watch. Kyle Schwarber, we haven't been on the air since he had his 4-homer game. And I was only watching it on the MLB app, Jeff, but I kept seeing it come through. Kyle Schwarber hits another one. 3 home runs for Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is he going to hit 4? And I'll be damned if he didn't become just the 21st player on Thursday night to hit 4 home runs in the game. And then what was really cool is the next day, over there at whatever they call that park in Philly.
Citizens
Bank, is it? Okay, good. They did their annual tradition where all 26 guys grabbed a pitching wedge and headed to home plate, and they chipped for their draft order in the team fantasy draft. And so Kyle Schwarber shows tremendous power and might on Thursday night. And on Friday afternoon before batting practice, stuck it within 4 feet and won the first pick in the fantasy draft. So pretty cool little weekend for old Kyle Schwarber.
So who is the first pick in fantasy football these days?
Well, that's a good question.
Is it a running back?
Got to be a running back, right? Is it Derrick Henry? Or is it, what's the
Barkley?
Saquon Barkley in Philly?
Maybe
it's Barkley.
It just seems like over the years, fantasy football is important. The importance has changed from quarterback to the running back.
But it has, and right now I think teams are emphasizing. Teams for so long in the NFL were de-emphasizing the run, and I think now they're going back in part because of what the Eagles and Barkley did last year.
All right, well, great.
So
anyway. I don't do fantasy football.
Yeah. So Schwarber's got their first pick, so that's a pretty cool deal.
So the Rangers, I'm sorry, I don't know if you were there the other day. The Rangers had their draft, and they had a hanging rack in the middle of the clubhouse with like authentic football jerseys of potential players. Yeah, so I mean they must have there must have been a couple $1,000s worth of jerseys in there.
Sure.
Yeah. No Bo Nix jersey though, so that's going to come back to bite somebody in the butt.
So did each individual guy buy the jersey he wanted?
I don't know.
I wonder how that worked.
I think they must have just like had, maybe they donned it after the
And
selection.
did anybody have the same jersey as one of his teammates? Right? Are these your favorite players? What are these? Very interesting.
Anyway,
inquiring minds want to know. We'll find out. This is a little bit disappointing because I would have liked to see a reunion this way, but Andrew Heaney has decided to head back to the Southern California area, Jeff, where, of course, he spent a lot of time with the Angels, and he's agreed with the Dodgers.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
He pitched for them, too.
Yep.
At the end of the 22 season, or in the 22 season, and he was pretty good for him. He had a huge strikeout rate, and that's why that really boosted his free agent stock and why the Rangers signed him to a 2-year deal. But yeah, he's go back to your roots. I mean, he's from Oklahoma, so Oklahoma City doesn't have a team, of course, but they do. The Dodgers AAA affiliate. Maybe you'll have to.
Of a point.
Maybe you'll have to go there and
he won't
get
mind
tuned
that.
up or whatever.
Yeah.
But I liked Andrew a lot. He was a professional, and he still has. I'm sure he thinks a couple years left in him. to go out there and pitch. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he had a great beginning of the year, really almost first half of the year with Pittsburgh, and then he faded. But part of that is that it's the team around him. I mean, if you're not Paul Skeens, I'm not sure. It's not easy to win in an environment. It's just not a team that's always serious about putting a good team on the field. We need seriousness. The Tigers have been half serious and half not serious since the All-Star break. The Tigers, good as they are, do they still have the best record in the American League? Let's look here. They've got 80. Yeah, they're the only team with 80 wins in the American League. Now, Toronto has 79. But still, 80 wins. They're 21-21 since the All-Star break.
Yeah, they're just kind of farting around.
Yeah. They're 500. They're right at 15th place among the 30 teams in big league baseball. And it absolutely speaks to, and it doesn't mean they can't get hot. And in fact, they've won, I think, 11 or 12 of their last 18, just like the Rangers have. But yeah, you've got to get hot at the right time of the year. They were super hot in April and May and even June, and built this big cushion in the American League Central. But 21-21 since the break, including losing 2 of 3 to the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean they're 9 games up, so
yeah, they're going to win the division.
They're gonna skate into the postseason, but yeah, are they going to have that extra year? Can they flip a switch? Whatever you want to say. They have Scooble, so game 1's in good shape. But who's going to follow after those guys? That's kind of a question that's being asked around the club right now. I'd assume Flaherty is. Anyway, there's no perfect team out there.
No, not in the American League in particular.
Yeah. And even the National League. The Dodgers have been flawed. They have the injury. Padres just lost Jason Adam. I know, one of their top relievers. Of course, they loaded up on Mason Miller there at the deadline, so that helps. But the Phillies are without Zach Wheeler now, so there's just not a team where you look at and you're like, they're the world champs,
right?
It's kind of become wide open in the other league too.
Yeah, I saw somebody
because the Brewers are struggling a little bit.
They are,
yeah.
And I saw somebody had tweeted out the other day about Mason Miller's pitches in the 9th inning, and I don't know how many there were, 10 or 11. It looked like all over 102. All of them over 102.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's even north of Aroldis Chapman territory, who, as we mentioned the other day, is signing an extension with the possibility of maybe 2 more years in Boston. Yeah. I really thought here, in 23, okay, well, it's great. He's been fun to have, but this is we're seeing the end of a great career, and lo and behold, he may have 3-4 more years, after that in him.
Well, even if he doesn't close, he's still left-handed, and those lefty relievers are coveted. A couple questions that we probably ought to knock out. I don't have an update on Dlls. It's only noon there in Arizona now. I'm sure he was getting some imaging and all that stuff, so there's no announcement yet. They may give him a few days. They don't have anybody on the 40-man who's just – they only have one position player on the 40-man who's healthy, Foscue. And he doesn't play the outfield. Sam Haggerty hadn't even done baseball activities before the last road trip, so that ankle's still tender. Dustin Harris, not on the 40-man anymore, but he's doing really well at AAA. Billy McKinney, another guy, the local kid who's been in the majors briefly for the Rangers this year. Another name to keep an ay on if the Rangers feel like they need a bat right away. But what they may end up doing is let old Dlls have a few days, because he does seem to do a lot of good things against the Astros.
Yeah, it's true.
So maybe they want to see if they can have him there.
Avoid an IL stint, right? And just let him rest for a few days. And, they've got the off day Thursday. So if you give him today, tomorrow, and Thursday. And again, quads aren't hamstrings. I mean, right. Easy for me to say, but hamstrings will nag at you. You probably can't avoid it much with a hamstring. With a quad, you might be able to. So, keep an eye. we'll keep an eye. We'll keep you posted. Tomorrow we're on with a post-game edition of the show. Getaway day is, I think, like a 2:40 game. So, yeah, so we'll be on at, 5:15, 5:30. I don't know. Games have been taking a little longer, it seems to me. Back to that. So we'll be on right after tomorrow's getaway game from Arizona. We've got a special guest on Thursday. It's a big week as we continue talking Rangers with you on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.